Hi guys, welcome back for episode number 69 of the weekly playback. I'm gonna try to get through this quickly. I'm shooting this on a Friday during lunch. I have a lot to do. This evening I'm going to a Cinco de Mayo game night. And then this weekend I'm going out of town to visit my best friend, so there's a lot to do and I probably won't get to edit this video. I say edit because all I really do is add in photos and stuff until Sunday, so you'll probably still be seeing this video on Monday. So anyway, so I'll try to be as quickly but as thorough as possible. So the first game I'll talk about is Astra. So I had played this solo previously because it does come, they did publish in their newsletter that they had created a solo mode, but first let me read you the relevant information and then I can talk about it. So Astra is a 2022 game for 2 to 5 players designed by Patrick Porcolab, Frigies Schoberl, and says there's one more person and I don't know who that is. And Esther Christina Sass, and it's the art is done by Sila Fekete. I probably butchered all of these names, and it's published by Mind Clash Games. So Mind Clash, this was their first to retail game as far as I know. So Mind Clash, of course, has done Trickerion, which I love, and Anachrony, and I think they did Perseverance as well. Is that them as well? Anyway, so this is a flip and write game. So if you are subscribed to the Mind Clash newsletter, you would know that they had come out with a solo mode, and me being me, I wanted to print out the solo mode rules on really nice paper, which I did, and went to FedEx and actually had it printed on this nice paper, which cost quite a bit. I probably shouldn't have done that. It's maybe silly, but anyway. So yeah, so I did play it solo one time, but I think I enjoyed it more. I know I enjoyed it more as a multiplayer game. So I played a 5-player game of this. You are going to have this one board, and you are going to have a marker on this board that keeps track of which element you're in, so it could be wind, it could be fire, water, and earth, I think. And you're going to have constellation cards around it. And on your turn, so you're going to start off with a certain number of stardust, which are really nice. They're like these amber colored crystals. And you need stardust in order to mark off constellations, stars on these constellations. So sometimes you can mark off a big star, like those special stars, which will give you allow you to go up on a certain track. There's always a starting star. The starting star always has that, it looks like that. And then there are the minor stars and stuff. There are telescope tokens, which will allow you to start 2 different paths. So basically on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to spend stardust tokens to either mark off stars on a constellation card, or you can rest to recoup some stardust tokens and possibly refresh constellations that you have previously earned and refresh their abilities if you had used their abilities. The only way you can refresh an ability of a card, though, is if the marker is on that icon, so on that symbol. So for example, if I want, I'm sorry, wrong word. So if I wanted to refresh a fire constellation card I have, this has to be on that at the beginning of my turn, and then at the end of my turn I would rotate this by 1 space. So when people refresh, that also removes a card from the draw deck and automatically puts it in discard, so it actually speeds up the game as well, because one of the game end conditions is that you can no longer draw a card from the deck and put it around this constellation board. So when you're filling stars on these constellations, you are trying to earn them so that you can then use them to gain their special ability, and they are of different symbols as well. And then each person has a card and they're trying to complete their own game end for scoring as well. So if you get cards of the certain symbols in a row and columns, you'll get points for that as well, for if you are able to complete them. So you'll get 3, if you're able to just check off 3 in a column or a row, if you're able to check off 3 in a column, you'll get 3 points. If you're able to check off 4 in a column, you'll get 6 points. And then if you're able to complete the whole row of a symbol, you'll get 11 points. If you're only able to get 3, then you'll get 6 points. And if you're only able to get 2, then you'll get 2 points. So each person has a card that they start with, so that can kind of help you to determine which kinds of constellations you want to complete. So people are going to be contributing to constellations. And if you contributed to a constellation, but you're not the one who finished it, before the person who finished it gets to take it, you get to select a boon at the bottom. So you go from the person who helped contribute the most to the least when you're getting those boons from the bottom of a card. So that's essentially it. I know I did that really fast, but here is a player board. So throughout the game, you're going to be keeping track of your stardust, how many you can have. You'll be keeping track of how many cards you're actually allowed to have by completing wisdom. And again, you complete wisdom whenever you mark off one of those special stars. You get to fill in a wisdom. You can, let's see, yeah. Some of them will give you points, and then some of the boons will allow you to get a telescope token. So when you are marking off stars on a constellation card and you're spending stardust, you have to start like adjacent to an already existing star, and you can't like just fill in different stars from like all over the place. Like you have to also go adjacent. If you have stars that are not adjacent that you want to fill in because you need to complete them in order to get a card, that's where you can spend a telescope token to then break off and do another part of the constellation that is maybe incomplete but not adjacent to the stars that you just filled in. So that's where telescope tokens come in. And then at the end of the game, you're going to like score for, you know, these completed cards. Let me see what else you score for at the end of the game because I don't remember. Leftover stardust, you'll get points for your pouch size of your stardust because you're able to increase that throughout the game. You'll get points for your card limit. You'll get points for marked stars across undiscovered constellations. So if the game end is triggered and there's cards around this board that haven't yet been completed, you'll get points for those. For any active constellations you have, so again, if you had a constellation but you used its ability, it will become inactive. If you have active constellations at the end of the game, you'll also get to score a point for that. Those are very minimal points. And again, it can be kind of hard to activate constellations because you have to make sure that the marker is on the correct thing when it's your turn to rest, when you want to rest. So that can be a little bit difficult to activate the constellations that you want to activate. But I actually like that because it kind of makes it seem, it kind of helps you, well, not helps, it makes it so that you need to kind of plan correctly when to use a constellation card. You need to kind of pay attention to where the marker is and who else is resting and, you know, when they might rest, and this will advance, because you kind of want to keep track of that so that you can try to plan to use your constellations in a way that you'll be able to, you know, maximize the benefit and be able to activate them during a rest if you're resting. And again, remember that anytime someone rests, that brings the game end closer. So I think that is a really interesting part of this game, like how resting allows you to, get some more stardust and, reactivate your abilities, but it does bring the game end closer because you have to discard a card from the draw pile. What else do you get points for? Elements. So you'll count up all the elements on the constellation cards you have, and then, your final scoring card. You'll complete that and then see how many points you get, and then the person with the most points will win. It's a really fun flip and write. I really like it. Everyone I played with really enjoyed it. So I played a 5-player game of this, and we all really enjoyed the game, and they were interested in getting it for themselves, in fact. So if you enjoy flip and writes, if you enjoy astronomy, I do highly recommend this game. I really like it. I did receive this as a review copy at PAX Unplugged, and I'm glad I finally got to play a multiplayer game of it. Solo is fine too, but I do think it's better as a multiplayer game. It's definitely, more fun, and as it was intended. Like the solo mode came later, so that was something that they came up with later, which is why I had to print this out myself. So so I do recommend this if you enjoy flip and writes. So again, that is Astra. Okay, so next up we have, let's talk about, so a game that I finally got to play, which I was super excited about. So I bought this at PAX Unplugged, so it is not a review copy. I purchased it myself, and that is The Great Split. So The Great Split is a 2022 game. designed by Hjalmar Hack and Lorenzo Silva, and the art is done by Weberson Santiago, who is like one of my favorite board game artists, and is published by Horrible Guild. So this is for 2 to 7 players. This is a I Cut You Choose game. I really enjoyed it. So you are going to have your own board with like different kinds of goods, valuables. So the different kinds of valuables in this game are tomes, which are like these books. You have gems, you have emeralds, and there are different kinds of gems, and sapphires. I think these are sapphires. You have just gold and points, which, you know, I'll talk about how all of these work. You have artwork, and you have, I think that's it. Yes. And then you have, yeah, so those are the different kinds of like valuables that you are going to be like trading in, I guess you could say. So each person will start with a character card, and your character will indicate like where you are starting off on certain tracks. And then there are certain contracts that will contribute towards your scoring at the end of the game. So these are the different, this is where, you know, Weberson Santiago's artwork really comes in, because on the art cards themselves, the art is pretty minimal. So you are going to have different cubes up here, and then you're going to have cubes down here. And the way scoring works is really interesting. So you have this main board, you're going to have a round tracker. There's going to be like two different icons, tokens here, which will indicate mid-game scoring. So like here, there will be a scoring, and then there will be a scoring here. So after the 3rd round and after the 4th round, there will be scoring. And then there will of course be end of game scoring once the game ends. You are going to have this artwork tracker. So let me just explain quickly. So like, for example, there are going to be these different tokens like these on here. So at the end of round 1, they're going to be upside down. You're going to reveal it, and that will indicate to you how far along this art tracker will move, how many spaces. When you have an art scoring, because art scoring can happen in the middle of the game even, so it can be on one of these, you are going to look at where your cube is on your art track. So you're going to look at where your cube is on your art track, and depending on where your cube is, you're going to look at the numbers down here, and like, let's suppose the art tracker scoring thing is like this. If you have your cube on the 1 space, you're going to score 0 points. If you have it on either 2 to 4, you'll score 6 points. So you see how that works? So you're going to look at these numbers, see where your cube is, and then look at this to see how you're scoring. So the art tracker is moving along throughout the game, depending on what is flipped over to determine the value of the art. So how this game works is each person is going to have an envelope, and you're going to have your splitter card. So you're going to start with the game with a certain number of cards. I believe it's 5, and then you draw a 6th, and so I believe it's 6 cards. You're going to decide how to split those cards in your envelope. So like, let's just suppose I want to do an even split 3 and 3. I would then stick it in the envelope like this, pass it to the player to my left. They will look at it and decide which of these cards they want from this side of the splitter or this side of the splitter, and they will take those cards, and then the leftover cards from their envelope, which they passed, they will combine with the cards they selected, and those are the tracks that they're going to go up on. Sometimes you may be able to go up on gold here, sometimes you may get some points because some of these cards have points on them. So, you know, it's an I split you choose kind of game where you are trying to benefit yourself, but also provide, you know, options which are appealing to the other person to try to get them to take what you don't want. So you kind of have to balance it out, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was such a great game. I know it's not very thematic, like the I Split You Choose doesn't really tie into the theme here, but it was super fun. I really loved it, and your card amounts will be increasing from round to round. Like, this indicates how many cards you'll have to have in hand. So if you ended up with more cards, you would have to drop down, and the card values will be increasing throughout the game because like you have different cards that show up in different parts of the game that may have more stuff on them. So there are these symbols on these tracks that look like, let me show you, like these. You see those like little diamond symbols here? Those are contracts. So at the end of the game, when you score for certain items here, you're going to look at how many contract symbols you have by looking at these down here to see how many points you will get. And by advancing on these tracks, you can sometimes advance on these tracks up here. So these tracks work in conjunction with each other. The tomes score regularly. The tomes will score depending on where your cube is, but there are also contracts that you will score at the end of the game for tomes as well. And gold will score for tomes as well. The gems, you want to keep your gems pretty comparable. So you're going to see which cube is the the least that you have of, and you're going to double that amount, and that is going to be your gem score. But again, you will also score for gem contracts at the end. So these different items score in different ways, but then you also have contract scoring at the end where you're looking for that diamond symbol and then seeing how far along you are on the tracks here. It is a really interesting game. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the decisions that I had to make in this game. I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, I think that it gets more and more interesting as the rounds progress, and I do recommend it. And yeah, so if you like I choose, you split, I split, you choose games, then you should definitely check this one out. I will say component wise, I don't know if it's just my copy. Firstly, these boards are so freaking warped. So it was really hard for some of us to keep our cubes like in place, like super warped boards. All of them are super warped. I need to like put something really heavy on them to flatten them. And then because they are dual layered boards, one of them had like some thing stuck to it, and I was trying to get it off. I don't know, like this board is damaged here. It looked like there was like some glue there and something happened there. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a big enough deal to contact the publisher over, so I haven't. But yeah, but the boards are super warped, so it can be a little bit hard to manage your cubes. Like it can be a little bit hard for them to stay put. So that is the only like downside to the quality of this game. And again, I don't know if it's just my copy or if all the copies are like that. And if you have any suggestions for how to avoid boards warping like that, like I don't know. So yeah. And I know people say it has a lot to do with humidity. This has never sat in my basement or garage or anything like that, so I don't know why they are like this. Yeah. So that is the Great Split. So I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I added this one to my collection. All right, let's move on to, I will talk about Evergreen. So I did play another game of Evergreen, which is by the same publisher, Horrible Guild. So Evergreen is and I purchased this myself as well. This is a 2022 game for 1 to 4 players, designed by Hjalmar Hotch, same person as The Great Split, and the art is done by Wenyi Geng, and it's published by Horrible Guild. I've discussed this game before, so I won't go into too much detail, but I played a 2-player game of this and I really loved it. So in this game, again, you have a dual layer board and you're like adding different trees and bushes and stuff like that, and you are just trying to grow your trees, but being mindful of where the sun is, because that's gonna determine where the shadows are being cast and which trees you will score. And you have certain cards in this game, and you're going to be selecting a card which will determine where you can actually take your actions, but then they also give you a bonus action, and you're advancing on these bonus tracks and increasing the actions there. But these cards, like the cards that are not chosen from the draft row, will determine which sections are going to score at the end. So it's a really fun game. I absolutely love this game. I still have not played Photosynthesis. I don't have Photosynthesis. I know that someone commented on my last video saying that they enjoyed this more than Photosynthesis because it's less punishing, I think, with the take that, I guess. There really isn't too much take that in here. There might be, like for example, when you're deciding which card you want, some of the cards can negatively affect the scoring, because if you take a card, if the card that is left over in the row that people were choosing from and it has like a skull symbol on it, that will affect the fertility of a certain region and take away from points. So if you see that someone has a lot of tall trees in a certain region and they're going to score mega points for that, you may want to leave a skull card for that region behind so that it takes away from the fertility points of that region for end game scoring. I think that's like about the only take that in this game, and it's kind of indirect. So I've not played photosynthesis, so I can't compare it, but I really, really love this game and I'm super glad I added it to my collection, and I definitely want to play this solo because I think it would be like super easy to set up, and I only like playing solo games that are really easy to set up and don't take up a lot of space. Moving on. So I did get to play a game called MegaCity Oceania. I don't own it, so I'll just post a picture here. So it's a dexterity game with like different contracts that you're trying to fulfill. So you're building buildings, and you, on your turn, you can either like draw like these components from a bag. There's like steel, there is glass and cement, and different building cards require different kinds of materials and a certain number of materials, and they have to be a certain height. So on your turn, you can either take a contract card, which you're going to try to build. You can or you can take components. I think you can take 2 actions on your turn. I think those are all the actions. There might be some other actions I'm forgetting. So basically you're just taking components and you're trying to construct these items and on these tiles, and then you have to push the tile very carefully because if your building collapses, then you have to start all over. So so the dexterity part I was not a huge fan of because I really suck at dexterity games, but it actually was fun. There's like a measuring stick that measures how tall your buildings are. So like, because some have to be 30 stories high, some have to be 60 stories high, some have to be comprised of only certain materials, some have to be comprised of any materials. It was a fun game. I enjoyed it. It's not one I would add to my collection because again, I'm not really a fan of like dexterity games, especially balancing stuff. Like I really suck at that, but it was fun. So yeah, it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. So that's a very brief overview of MegaCity Oceania. Another game I played recently, it was my 8th play of it, is Botanik, which, you know, is one of my favorite 2-player games. I've discussed that a lot previously, so I won't go into it, but I got my highest score ever in Botanik because I keep track of my scores. So I scored 27, which I don't know if that's like, you know, really good or really bad, but for me it's really good. It's my highest score ever. So, but then moving from highest score to really crappy scores, I played a game of Tiny Towns, a 5-player game of it, and I did very badly. I scored 8 points, a whopping 8 points. I really suck at Tiny Towns. I own this game, I own the expansions for it. I really suck at it. I just don't know. Like, you know, you have to put down these construction pieces and, you know, someone gets to be like the head construction person, the builder, and they get to call out which material everyone takes. And you have this small little grid on which to put these materials in each square. And then once a building is completed, you can put that building in one of those squares in which the materials were. It is so freaking hard because sometimes you're stuck with materials that you just don't need, and then you have to stick them somewhere, and then they just take up space, and that's going to be negative points at the end if you can't turn them into buildings. It is just so hard. I ended up building 3 cathedrals or churches, whatever you call them, and they needed to be like adjacent to certain other buildings, and like my buildings weren't even fed. It was just terrible. Like you have certain buildings that you need to feed with like farms or something. Like there needs to be cottages that are fed. It was just the worst game ever for me. Like you know, I'm not sure I enjoyed it just because I find it really difficult. It's like it's a really big puzzle. Like, I mean, this is a very puzzly game. So if you are looking for a very puzzly, like, building game, this is it. I really suck at it, but I can see that some people would really enjoy it and be really good at it. I'm not. You know, I'll keep it in my collection for now. You know, I'll play it again, I think, but I just really suck at it. I think that the Fortune expansion makes it a little bit more forgiving, so I will definitely be playing with the expansion in the future. So yeah, so that's an Alderac game. I know I didn't read any of the information for it, but it's been around for quite some time, so I'll just leave a link below as always. And then I played a game of Acropolis, which I forgot to mention. I actually played that before. I played another, you know, 2-player game of Acropolis, which I really enjoy. That's also a city building game with, like, you can have different layers and the scoring is really interesting. So, you know, if you haven't played Acropolis yet, I highly recommend that you check that out. Okay, so moving on to games that I am backing. So currently the only game I'm still backing is Pioneer Rails. Let's see how it is doing. So Pioneer Rails has 12 days to go at the time that I'm shooting this video on a Friday, Friday Cinco de Mayo, and it is at $43,445. So I think they've unlocked a lot of stretch goals. I don't know how many are left, but that is currently the only game that I am backing at the $1 level to get my production copy of it. Yeah, so they have unlocked a lot of stretch goals, including linen finish on all cards, but they haven't, wait, what? Oh, so I forgot, the stretch goals are in pounds, not dollars. But they have a stretch goal of increased paper thickness. So that would be cool, I guess. So yeah, so there we go. Moving on, so let me show you some games that I finally unboxed and or received. So the first game I'll show you is Earth. I received my copy of Earth, which I purchased. I've played this twice now, one full game and then one like not full game. Like, you know, anyway. So I really love Earth. I think it is a great game. I asked in my last video whether I should sleeve the cards. I did. So let me just show you my box. So sleeved, I have them sitting like this, and then I have the boards and stuff sitting on top. So yeah, I did sleeve all of the cards. This is not all of the cards. I have, so these are all the cards that would get shuffled up, and the cards that would not get shuffled, I've put into bags so that it's easier to sort them. And then I have the score pad here, and I have like the different player tokens, these cubes, and then like these first player tokens and stuff like that here. So I put it like this. I just figured that that is the better way to organize it. If someone has an even better way of organizing this, let me know, but that's how I've done it. So yeah, so I did sleeve all of the cards. You know, someone did mention that they thought that the card quality was not very good. The card quality wasn't bad. It's just that I really love this game and I want to preserve it. So I decided to go ahead and just sleeve all of the cards. It did use a lot of sleeves, but I think it's worth it for a game that's like this good, that I really like. So yeah, so that I bought and received. I'm not sure that there's enough dirt tokens, like the deluxe ones, so I may have to punch out some of the non-deluxe ones. I put the punch board underneath this, so I may have to take it out and punch out some of the non-deluxe tokens, just because I'm not sure that those dirt tokens will be enough for everyone. And it comes with like this like achievement sheet that you can fill out. You know, in here of course are like the different player boards. I didn't notice that they have artwork on the back, which is so pretty, like the different photographs, really, really pretty. Okay, only 2 of them have it, I guess. Huh, yeah, only 2 of them have it, but very pretty, super pretty, really, really like that. So yeah, so I got my copy of Earth. I had ordered this from Board Game Bliss, and I'm so glad I did, because it's already sold out, so I'm really glad I jumped on it and didn't really wait. I received some review copies, which I finally managed to unbox. I will show Marrakesh first. It is huge. Let me just put this one down here. So Marrakesh is really big. So I received this. It's a review copy. I did not pay for it, but it is the deluxe edition of Stefan Fell's City Collection, Marrakesh. It comes with these like stickers. If someone could tell me, you know, whether you actually put these on the box or not, I don't know if I should or not. And then it comes with some like postcards or something. Oh, I didn't see the back of these before. Okay, the backs are really pretty. Those are really, really pretty. I like those. I don't think I'll be receiving review copies of the ones that were on Kickstarter recently, like Cusco, which I would really love, because you know, the person who credited my account with this, you know, I don't know if he would still want to send me review copies. This was a long time ago, before a lot of people started hating me, so you know, who started thinking I'm dangerous or whatever. So who knows? But I received this, so you know, I'm gonna enjoy it. So anyway, it comes with a coin, which you can actually just pop right into this, which is pretty cool. I'll show you the box actually. So the box looks like this. I just removed one tray from here, which is here. It comes with like these different buildings. So the deluxe component comes with these really pretty screen printed buildings in different colors. Here are the different player colors. You have blue, green, red, and yellow, like of different kinds of meeples. And then there's one with like a turban here. And it comes with, I think this is a boat. Let me see. Yeah. So these are the deluxe components. Then it has room for some tokens. And then these, you know, some player pieces. And then, yeah, just some other player components and stuff like that. Comes with a bunch of tokens, which I'll show to you. And really pretty colors. I absolutely love these token colors. Like, just look at these colors. They are so pretty. Like, I really love this color. Of course, I love the purple, even the orange I really love, the pink. Like, these colors are just so vibrant and beautiful. I just love them. Like these water tokens. And then there are these dates. Really cool. And then just some cardboard money and stuff like that. That's really cool. Here are some, I think these player boards. Yeah, these are really cool. So these are the player boards. I have no idea how to play this game. I do not even know what game this is re-implementation of, but those are the player boards. And then this is the main board. Yeah, here we go. So this is the main board. And then let me just show you the box now. So this is what the box is looking like right now. It came with these. I have no idea what the hell I'm supposed to do with this. Like, I don't know what this is. I saved the components that I punched out of these, but I cannot for the life of me figure out what the hell they're for. If anyone knows, I would really appreciate it. So I saved the stuff that you punched out of these, but like, no idea what the hell they're for, like no idea. So I stuck them in here, and I also stuck them in here with these like black things, which I have no idea what the hell those are for either. Like, there was no instructions for that. It comes with this tower. It's okay, the tower is okay. It just, like, you're supposed to have it like that. It doesn't sit completely nicely, which kind of annoys me, but whatever. So this, like, I don't know what the tower is for, but like oh no, this stupid thing. It's really annoying. Like, I wish that there was some way to like make this stay, but this is just gonna keep on coming out. So there's like this platform, and then you stick the tower into the platform, and I really don't know what you're throwing in here because there's no dice in this game. And then here's the rest of the box with like different tiles and different like components as well, like different cardboard components. So that is Marrakesh, which, you know, I'd like to play sometime soon. I am glad that this tower fits in here assembled, but again, no idea what it's for. So yeah, I do appreciate how great this insert is and that everything will fit into it really nicely. So that is nice. Really, really great insert. But again, no idea what the hell these are for. So if you know what those are for, I would greatly appreciate, you know, you letting me know, because I really don't know. And yeah, I did save the components just in case. I don't know. So yeah, so this is Marrakesh, and then I also received a copy of New York. I had previously shown Amsterdam. I have not shown, the only one I haven't unboxed now yet is Hamburg, which is a re-implementation of Bruges, and the reason I haven't unboxed that one yet is because I own Bruges, so I just didn't see a need to unbox Hamburg. Oops. It's fine, no damage. Okay, so I haven't seen a need to unbox Hamburg yet. Maybe I'll even give it away, I don't know. So here is New York. So actually, I'm just gonna read you because of the ratings. Like, I looked up the ratings. Marrakesh has good ratings right now. So Marrakesh is rated. So Marrakesh is rated, let's see, 8.2, which is really good for BGG, of course, but New York is rated, let's see, 7.3. Okay, that's still good. Last time I checked, I thought it wasn't that good for some reason, but 7.3, that's not bad. Okay, so New York is actually, maybe I should have just read the, so it looks like it's an action drafting, auction bidding game. So that's cool. I enjoy auction games, so I think I'll enjoy it. So here is the box for this one, and I popped in the coin. I'm gonna have to go back into Amsterdam and pop in the coin for that because I didn't know you could actually just pop them in, which is pretty cool. So here are the components. I absolutely love the components in this game. These buildings are just so freaking cool. So it comes with different colored buildings. I imagine it'll look really cool. It comes with like these news tokens in different player colors, and like this, you know, and then different kinds of vehicles and stuff like that. These deluxe components are really, really nice. And then here is the main board, which doesn't look super amazing or anything. It's just a map. So there are definitely nicer maps out there. So nothing super amazing, but it has cool artwork on the back. And then here is the rest of the box and inserts. So we have different, I don't know if these go to individual players. Oh, it looks like they do because of the different colors. And then you can see like these different like doors, these tiles and stuff. So there's different tiles here. And then these come up. And then I stuck the non-deluxe components here like that. And then there's just a bunch of different cards. So yeah, so this is New York. I'll just show you some of the cards. Yeah. Yeah, so these are the different cards. So that is New York. Where do these go? Okay. So I'm looking forward to playing these at some point in time as well. Moving on, let's see what is left. Yeah, Darwin's Journey is still there. I did receive a prototype of a game that I'm covering, but I forgot to bring it up, so I'll show it to you guys next week. Yeah, I'll show that to you next week. Updates. So this isn't an update relating to me necessarily, but I just read today that Steeped Games, which is the publisher of Chai, and Chai Tea for Two, which is now probably not going to deliver, their company dissolved. So apparently, I don't know, what that means for the game. So they were a Canadian corporation, a Canadian company, and apparently there was some record that someone found that their company had dissolved on April 20th. So just very recently. So I don't know if Chai Tea for Two will deliver to backers. I know it's not my fault or anything. I just feel a little bit guilty because I did cover Chai Tea for Two for its Kickstarter. And then when you are a content creator and promote a game, and then, people spend their hard-earned money on a game that now they're not going to get, it feels a little bit icky and bad. So I do feel really bad for backers if they're not going to receive this game. I don't know how things work. I don't know whether some other company can take over the game and still produce it and get it to backers. I don't know if that would require additional funding. Who knows what happened to their funding, and whether, I don't know. I don't know anything. So, I wonder how that would work, whether there is another publisher who could somehow, make the game still come to life and be delivered to backers. I don't know. It's just really sad that there are a lot of people who won't get their money. That's how I currently feel for Adventures in Neverland. Like, I don't know if I'll ever see that game. Like, I backed that in 2019 and it is now 2023. So it's been 4 years and I don't think that game is going to be published. And that was a very expensive game. And I was backer number 2. Like, I was gunning for backer number 1. And I got backer number 2, which I was so proud of at the time. And now I just would love 100% refund. But anytime I've reached out to the company, they won't give me 100% refund. They say, we'll refund you X percentage. And then I'm like, yeah, should I just let them hang on to my money and then just try to get the game? Or should I just take this partial refund? I don't know. And then, whenever I post a comment about it, there's always someone who's like, oh, that's not how Kickstarter works. Like, yeah, I know how Kickstarter works, dude. Like, I know that, they won't give me 100% refund because X, Y, and Z, but I think that they're still should be responsible for it. Like, I know that's not how Kickstarter works. I know that you're pledging and supporting, this endeavor and that you're not guaranteed anything, but I don't know. So anyway, so I might not receive that game, and I'm sorry for all the people who won't receive Chai Tea for 2. We'll see if anyone is able to somehow make the game come to life. I don't know. So my question of the week actually relates to that. So I want to know if you've ever backed a game that you know you will never receive, and how do you feel about it? I think Adventures in Neverland is the only one that I probably might not receive. I mean, who knows? I'm not sure if there's any others. I can check. Let me just go on to Kickstarter really quickly and go back as far as I can. Let's see. Oh, well, my internet upstairs really sucks, so I don't know how far back I can go. Let's see. Going back. Oh, this one's not that old, but Tranquility the Ascent. I feel like that should have been delivered by now. It's like a card game. Don't know what the deal is with that. But that, I feel like should have been delivered by now, but oh well. He's still giving updates, so I think it will be delivered. It's just going to take a while. Yeah, I think I did back something else on Kickstarter, not board game related, so 2 separate things. So I had backed this telescope, and that I backed a long time ago as well. I think that was back in 2020, and they still need to send me certain parts of this telescope, which they have not sent. And that was my most expensive Kickstarter ever. So I'm still waiting for certain parts of my telescope to arrive many years later. And they've already put those parts and telescopes in retail. And I'm still waiting for certain parts of my telescope to arrive. It's just very frustrating. But yeah, Adventures in Neverland seems to be the oldest outstanding Kickstarter I have. Yep. So Adventures in Neverland. Don't know if it'll deliver. Parts of my telescope. I have backed a few things on Kickstarter, which I'm disappointed with. So I backed these reusable towels, which are supposed to be environmentally friendly. The absorption really sucks, and I spent extra to buy extra towels because I was like, oh, it's going to be great for the environment. They really do not absorb water or anything really well. Just not very good. So I feel like that was kind of a waste of money. I backed Bird Buddy, one for myself and one as a gift. I haven't yet set it up, but from all the reviews I've read, apparently they really suck, and Bird Buddy was quite expensive. So I really think I need to stop spending money on electronics or things like that on Kickstarter. So from now on, I'm not going to back electronics or non-board game related things on Kickstarter, I think, just because I've been burned a few times now. So yeah, so it looks like Tranquility the Ascent is one of my outstanding ones. Burrow is outstanding. Ice, I think I just received an email yesterday saying that Ice is going to start being shipped soon, so that's good. Yeah, then all the other ones, those are more recent, so I'm pretty confident that they'll deliver. So yeah, so that is about it. So just curious if you've backed something that hasn't delivered. I know that Mythic Games seems to be having a lot of issues as well, and they've asked backers for more money to be able to deliver products. Luckily, I have never backed anything from Mythic. They don't make the kind of games that I enjoy anyway. But again, feel sorry for all the people who do enjoy those kinds of games and have invested a lot of money in Mythic. That is really unfortunate. So yeah, so let me know. That's not a very happy note to end a video on, but oh well. So anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Oh no, actually I received questions. I totally forgot about the questions because I've complained that I never received questions, and I actually received questions and now I'm not even answering them. Sorry, let me just go and answer some of those questions that I received. One second. Because I was so excited that I actually got questions from people and now I'm not even answering them. How terrible. I should have made a note in my document. Okay, so let me just go find those questions. So one of the questions was, I really like the channel logo and animation. Who created that? Was it difficult? Well, I didn't create it, so I don't know how difficult it was. I went on this website called Fiverr and found someone to create my animation. So the logo was created by someone else, an artist, and then I provided the logo to the animator to create my YouTube intro and outro. And I basically told him what I was looking for, what kind of music I wanted. In fact, I went and found the music myself, I think, because the stuff he was coming up with, I was not interested at all. Like, I wanted a more like fantasy kind of magical kind of thing going on, and he like went in a totally different direction. So I found someone on Fiverr and I gave him a lot of direction on what I was looking for, and that's what he came up with in the end. So I was happy with that. So that is from Fiverr. What else? Let's see. Another question was, okay, here's another question. What is your favorite hidden movement game? Like, do I like hidden movement games, and which is my favorite? Yes, I love hidden movement games. Letters from Whitechapel, but Whitehall Mystery replaced Letters from Whitechapel for me because it's way more streamlined and easier to play, easier to set up, easier to play, but still the same experience. So it replaced Letters from Whitechapel for me, but I still own my copy of Letters for Whitechapel. Just because like it's aesthetically pleasing, maybe I should call it. But I've played Whitehall Mystery so many times. Like, I've played that game a lot of times. I do actually own Fury of Dracula. I managed to get my hands on a copy, which I was so excited about. I have not been able to find anyone to play it with me yet, but I do have new gaming friends, so I hope that they'll be willing to play it someday. I do need to sleeve all of the cards because I think that's an out of print game now. So I do want to sleeve all of my cards before playing it, but I really love hidden movement games. I actually, I've already discussed my, feelings about the designers of Mind Management because, I was friends with Jay Cormier until all that stuff went down, and then he just kind of was a coward. And I had even played Mind Management on Tabletopia with Jay Cormier, like on 2 or 3 separate occasions, and I was a huge supporter of the game. So I own the game, and it's like right there, and I need to play it still. So, I just need to separate my feelings about the designers, who I just don't like at all, and my feelings about the game. So I do want to play my copy of Mind Management, my physical copy. I just haven't had a chance yet, but I have played it on Tabletopia a couple of times with the designer a few years ago. Another question I received, I think I received one more question. Let me find it. Yes. This person asked me, you seem to get lots of game nights in each week with different people. How do you manage the time? How do you meet and grow comfortable to get those groups going? That is a really good question. So I am a bit of an extrovert, so for me, meeting new people is not hard. Like, I can meet someone for the first time and just feel really comfortable talking to them, unless they are really closed off. If they themselves are really closed off and, are not able to, express themselves or talk, then it can be a little bit difficult. I did actually meet someone like that. So someone who grew to be a friend of mine, he was very shy at first. And I remember the very first game night I met him at, he was so shy, and he had a book with him, and I asked him about the book and he couldn't even like bring himself to answer me because he was so shy. And it took a bit of time, but like he grew comfortable with us and we became friends. We've, you know, we've all gone on day trips together and stuff like that. So, you know, for some people, I know it takes time. I am extroverted in that I love meeting new people. So it's really easy for me to meet new people and create game nights and stuff. And it really helps if the other people are like that too. So my new gaming friends, you know, the person who has helped to introduce me to other people, she is also very extroverted herself, and so that really helps. I feel like we have similar personalities. And yeah, I think you just, you know, if you yourself are an extroverted person and are outgoing and friendly and like meeting new people, it can be a lot easier to get a gaming group going. If you are not, it's gonna be harder, I think. You know, just generally as adults, it's harder to make friends if you are, you know, especially if you're not married, you don't have kids going to the same school. It can be really hard and difficult to make new adult friends. But for someone like me who is single, doesn't have kids, but is outgoing and is pretty friendly and likes meeting new people, it's not that difficult. The time part is also easier for me because I am single. So I am single, I don't have any children, you know, I live alone, so my life is my own. I don't have any other time obligations really. So I work during the day and then that's it. Like I don't have to worry about anything else really, except like family obligations that come up now and then, but otherwise my time is my own. So because my time is my own, I can fit in all these game nights. And yeah, so that's how I managed to do it. So, you know, and that's one of the reasons that I don't want children. You know, if I ever do meet the right person and get married someday, I've made it very abundantly clear that I do not want children. It's not a part of my lifestyle. And, you know, that's no judgment on anyone who does want kids, but I am someone who likes to, you know, live her own life. And I know that kids would just make that really difficult. They're also very expensive. They're a huge time commitment. And so, you know, I prefer fur babies. So I like to travel. I like to play games. I like to do a lot of things that kids would just get in the way of. So for me, finding time is not a problem. You know, like my friends, they are also child-free. So we are able to meet multiple times a week for games because we're all child-free. And yeah, you know, they're all coupled up, so I'm not coupled up. So, you know, they may have things that they want to do with their significant other, but I'm free multiple times a week because I'm not coupled up and I am child-free. So it definitely makes things much easier for me. Yeah, so that's how I find time for game nights. So yeah, it's a lifestyle choice, really. That's it. So there we go. So now I had some questions, which I was happy to answer. So if you have any questions, as always, just please leave them in the comments below. I'm pretty much an open book and love answering questions. So thank you. I think that's a better note to end this video on. And yeah, until next week, bye.